Forward to this computer.
Got it.
All right. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Tancredi. I am currently acting treasurer of the Civic Association. I'm taking over for Erin. Erin made a decision to take a step back from her treasurer duties. Kim is here on the line. Kim is our vice president, but acting as president at the moment. Kim, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Hello. I thought you were acting as president, Dave.
Well, you wanted to take a step back. I know that you want to take a step back, but we can't have one person that's technically be everything. So I think you'll technically still be president until we get a replacement.
Okay.
Hello, Andrew. He's like, yeah, he's looking for a place. All right, just to notice, this is being recorded. It is September 9th around 7 p.m. And normally we open these meetings with our esteemed legislators. So Jack, Mike, which one wants to go first?
Go
Mike,
ahead,
do you want to
Senator.
go? Do you want to go to another meeting or?
I can go. That would be great, and then I'll jump off to go to Sherwood. And if I miss anything, you can touch base with me.
That's fine.
Okay, and then that way, whatever I miss on mine, you can cover on yours because I know we kind of crisscross some. So first of all, just the very quickly, the elections are coming up. There's a primary this Tuesday. The election world has been adjusted and modified a few times because of the COVID virus in particular. Those modifications have affected your ability to vote in person, which you can still do, obviously, but safe place initiatives will be digested at your polling places, and all your polling places will be the same for the primary and the general as they normally are. You may also vote by mail, which is a new alternative, which you may do, or vote absentee, which is an old alternative that you could always do. On the voting absentee, the uniqueness of that is you may now check sick, even if you aren't sick at the moment, because of the governor expanded the ability of absentee voting through this year. So you can vote sick, which enables you to get an absentee vote for this election, so you don't have to go to the polls because of the COVID virus. So in essence, the vote by mail and the absentee are very similar now, but whatever you're more comfortable with, that's fine. If you are worried about some of the rigmarole that's been said on TV and whatnot about the concerns about the post office and whatnot, there are drop boxes at the Caravel building on the 4th floor at the Department of Elections, or in the lobby of the Caravel building. And there's also a drop box at the in Newcastle at the training Department of Elections training area, where everybody goes for their training. So if you just don't want to take the chance of the post office not getting it there, you can drive to either of those places. We had a wonderful demonstration at Skyline. I'm hoping the senator and I are working on trying to get a date to have another demonstration at Dickinson High School. I'm going to try to get Representative Kim Williams and Senator Del Calo both at that too, because a lot of their people vote there, where people can just go, again, practice on the old machines. I was fortunate. The commissioner actually came to our presentation in Skyline, and he actually answered a ton of questions. He is very kind, very competent, very knowledgeable. We then the next day had a town hall Zoom, which you can look at online, which he answered the questions of people. I didn't ask the questions, they did, and he was just amazing. I think the most important thing about the elections, and I think the senator agrees, is at the end of the elections, we need to all feel comfortable that the votes counted and there was no voter fraud. And I think we have a very good commissioner of elections who's going to help us do that. As far as education, most of you realize the Red Clay District in particular is on a 6-week virtual, and as is the Christina. However, many of the charter schools are either going virtual, some are actually in class, and some are doing a hybrid mix of both, as are a lot of the private and Catholic schools. So not every school is on virtual for 6 weeks. Some have already started. Some are going full blast classroom, 100, and with safe space initiatives. Others are going full blast virtual, and many, like, let me just use example, St. Mark's are going, like, kids are 3 days every other day, in, out, in, out, in, out. But so therefore the weeks are alternated. They're technically on a 6-week cycle. I mean, a 6-day cycle. So they're in one day virtual, the next, in one day virtual, the next, and the other half of the school, the other half of the alphabet are virtual, then in school virtual. So my point is, through the brilliance of education and very smart principals and very good superintendents, everybody's trying to wade their way through this COVID environment to whatever works for their clientele that they service. And I think that's very valuable. Also, as far as the yard waste site, with the work of Senator Walsh and myself and Representative Williams, in particular, the three of us on bond, we were able to twist enough arms and beg enough people that we got enough votes to fund the yard waste site again this year. I've been asked a million questions about it. I'm going to say it this simply. The yard waste site now has epilogue language, which is language in law that says it will be opened at the same level or more than last year. In other words, it won't go to one day on the weekend or less hours. It's got to be at least the same or more, depending on how quickly we were using up the funds. So that should make everyone feel a little comfortable. The lanternfly outbreak is getting extensive. It's sneaking closer and closer to the Kirkwood Highway area. And if you do see a lanternfly, you're supposed to call it in. But the calls we're getting now are tree clusters of hundreds of them all around the base of the trees. And they're called the tree of heaven, which I used to call the weed trees, the trees that just grow like from a weed to real tall. But these lanternflies just apparently love them, and they put their little prickers in there and they suck all the juice out of them. And that's where they feed. So those trees need to be treated as quickly as possible, because we need to eradicate the lanternfly as quickly as possible so they don't leave nests. I think each nest is like another 1,000 lanternflies for next year if it's not a real cold winter. So please report anything you see. I know we have them in Creekside. We have them in Clearview Ridge. We have them in Coach Hill. We got them up in yeah, they're just spreading out a lot, and a lot of it is also in county parks, so they're trying to get it taken care of. Out on the small business world, the Delaware Division of Small Business has just digested a grant for $100 million that they are awarding to small businesses whose incomes have decreased by a minimum of 7.5% for the year. To help them through the COVID environment, they would have to apply for that grant. Anyone needs help, the Delaware Division of Small Business is initiating that, not the federal government like the PPP loans. And this is a grant, not a loan, that you would apply for. Damian DeStefano runs that department. He is doing a phenomenal job. He also did a Zoom for us, which is on our the Facebook and our e-blast stuff that you can go look at if you want to see how to apply for that and what they're doing. For the senator and I in particular together, the Churchman Crossing area, they are evaluating the Churchman Crossing plan. I think, Senator, correct me if I'm wrong, like 22, 23 years ago, they actually developed a plan for the Churchman Crossing area. If anyone's a little confused what the heck that is, just put a dot on Christiana Mall and kind of draw a circle around it in a 3-mile and then a 7-mile or a 5-mile radius. The one is the primary area. The second is the secondary area. And that comes all the way down to like Kirkwood Highway, Route 7, Midway Shopping Center on up area for how it sucks in Eastburn Acres. But Eastburn Acres does reside in the secondary area of that planned redevelopment. So you can go on www.wilmapco.org and then /Churchmans, and it'll give you the specific site. If you just go on the first part, www.wilmingtonmapco.org, and then you can also search for the Churchman site. But regardless, the event will be Wednesday, the 16th of September from 5 p.m. to 7. From 5 to 5:30, it's just going to be logging in and all. 5:30 to 6:15 will be the presentation, and 6:15 to 7 will be questions. And it is, a DelDOT event in which they want people to give input and hear and give guidance on what they think the adjustments to the plan. I'm not going to render my opinion of a plan being redone after 23 years, but I do say that I have an enormous amount of frustration that it seemed like that Christiana Passway through and so forth was overcrowded before we even finished it. And so maybe we need to look at a plan that gets us to the next 50 years instead of having to redo one again in 20, and it just got finished. But that's just an opinion. The food bank's having a drive-through food drive at Frawley Stadium from 9 to 11 on 9/11 at 11 o'clock. I think a lot of people have been touched in a very difficult way with this outbreak. So if you know anyone, sometimes people are embarrassed to do something like that. I went for people in our district a few times now because, I'm more comfortable with it, and I bring things to others' house. If you know a senior or someone who can't get out that you could help, that would be absolutely awesome. I think you all know that I have my e-blast at mike@mikeramone.com. If you want to get this information all the time, you may. We also have a web page. And most important now, we are back to having our 2 coffees a month. Yesterday, actually, in the morning was our Tuesday coffee, and that's from 7:30 to 9 at Oakwood Valley Swim Club now because Crossroads is closed. And our evening coffee is the last Sunday of each month at our home, which is 211 Nathan Court off of Possum Park Road from 7 to 9 p.m. Both are outside. Both have safe space initiatives. Both we give out hand sanitizer and masks and the works, and both are also recorded so you can look at later if you can't get there. David, that's pretty much all I got. Maybe if you have any questions, I can try to answer them, or if you want to wait for the senator to do his gig because he goes over a few things that I purposely didn't. And then if you have any questions, we can go from there, whatever you want.
Why don't we have Senator Walsh go next? Because I know you guys are kind of, time is an issue.
Sure. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Mike, for that report. It's pretty extensive. I'll touch on a few things. So Governor Carney, he has extended the state of emergency that we're in for another 30 days, and that started on September 3rd. There's now been 27 modifications to those states of emergency. And you can go, we have a great dashboard, a great website. It's coronavirus.delaware.gov. Has a wealth of information on that website. So I would definitely recommend anybody interested in anything going on with the coronavirus to go to that website. Again, it's coronavirus.delaware.gov, and it's a great dashboard. It's growing and changing every day. So it tells you that we have currently 53 hospitalizations. 12 people in critical condition, and there's been to date, unfortunately, 609 deaths. So that's where we are with that. Mike touched on the schools, Red Clay. They started yesterday virtually for the first 6 weeks. Christiana pretty much is doing the same thing. They're both getting a device will be provided to every student, and they work to ensure that all families have access to the internet. So there'll be more information in the coming weeks with that. The Votech School District, same thing. They're going remote also until mid-October. A little different scenario there because they have hands-on stuff. So the district basically will announce in advance when in-person instruction will begin. And they'll provide information on daily schedules, transportation, and meal service. So more to come on that one. I don't think anybody here is in Christina, so we don't really need to talk too much about that. I know I myself, and I'm sure Mike has too, you're dealing with a extremely high volume of unemployment cases. And I know possibly some of your neighbors have experienced, if they are, experienced some delays. So if anybody is, please feel free to contact my office. If anyone is experiencing issues with unemployment, right now, I can tell you as of today, they have a 10,000 case backlog right now. So it continues to grow, and I know it's tough for people to understand. They've been out without money for weeks, but we try to expedite it if we can. And it's been a lot of work for our staff to try to communicate with the Department of Labor to try to expedite that. So as Mike said, the election year, due to the corona pandemic, we now have vote by mail, no excuse vote by mail, which we didn't have before. We did have the absentee. So it's a little different. It does sunset after this election. So it's just for this election. I can tell you that I was the prime Senate sponsor for HB 175, myself and Representative Gerald Brady, the original vote by mail. So it's going to be a good test case this election to work out all the bugs with this, right? So that was a bill that due to the coronavirus, we didn't run many bills, but that was one that got run. It was like I said, it's scheduled to sunset after this election. And I was also the prime sponsor of HB 39, which was same-day voter registration, which we'll bring that back next year to see if we can get that done. So, you know, for your vote to count too, your ballot must arrive at the Department of Elections office by 8 p.m. on election day. I know Mike talked about either mailing it in or going to the drop box. There are 2 drop boxes, as he mentioned, one in town at 820 North French Street at the State Building, and there's one over there, it's 220 Lisa Drive over in Newcastle. So if you do request and receive a ballot, but later decide to vote at your polling place, as long as you have not sent back your ballot, you can still vote in person. If the Department of Elections has already received and processed your ballot, obviously you will not be able to vote in person on election day. So Mike mentioned the primaries on Tuesday, September 15th. So we encourage everybody to come out and vote. General elections is on November 3rd. I know I don't have a primary. I'm up for the general election this year. It's been 4 years already. So I'm hoping that I garnered your support in Eastburn Acres. I know you guys have been very supportive. If anybody would like a yard sign to help show support for my reelection, just reach out. I know I have several in the neighborhood right now. I feel I work extremely hard with all my reps, assisting the neighbors with community issues such as making the roads safer, addressing traffic concerns, drainage problems throughout the district. Education is always a lot of education concerns and many, many more. I've also hosted many community events in the area, memory screening for the signs of Alzheimer's, many food bank drives, Del.DMV on the go bus, treats for Santa, human trafficking. And I've also done several of the new voting machine demonstrations. And Mike, if you'd like to do another one, definitely up for that. I did one in the 19th district, one in the 18th district. So if you want to do one, we can do one here. That's fine. There are also, speaking of events, this weekend, we're hosting a shredding event on Saturday at Del Castle High School from 8 to 12. That's myself, Representative Williams, and Senator Del Callo. So if you're interested in that, we're basically recycling electronic goods can be recycled, such as old computers, printers, CD players, microwaves, televisions, telephones, Game Boys, fax machines, answer machines, VCRs, and household hazardous waste containers that are marked with the words warning, hazardous, flammable, poisonous, corrosive, or explosive. So things like household cleaners, garden pesticides, oil-based paints only, nail polish, fluorescent bulbs, or antifreeze. And then there's also paper shredding. So if you can bring up to 2 file boxes of personal confidential papers for shredding, such as financial and legal documents, receipts and tax and medical records, and papers with staples or paper clips are accepted also. So it's like I said, that's from 8 to 12 on Saturday, this Saturday.
And where's the location again?
Somebody say something?
Del Castle. I think he said Del Castle.
Del Castle High School. Yep. I know, as Mike mentioned, myself, Representative Ramon, Representative Williams, the Poly Drummond Yard Waste site was obviously a big, every year we have fought to keep that open. And once again, we're successful this year. We are looking for a long-term solution to that. As you know, we continue to, as members of the bond committee, we were successful this year to keep that open. So I know the community And you can see it every weekend. It's packed up there. So we were successful once again in doing that, getting that in epilogue language, as Mike mentioned, to keep that open and funded throughout the season. It'll close in sometime in January, mid to late January, and then it'll reopen again in April. Also, we're able to get some improvement projects in bond for the Absalom, 2 community centers that are in my district, the Absalom Jones Community Center and the Newark Senior Center. So try to keep do a lot for seniors, and those 2 community centers are heavily used, and we were able to get funding for them this year also.
And Senator, also to your credit, we ended up getting you also got for Mid-County. I know that's slightly out of your district, but we got it for Mid-County Senior Center also. So.
That's correct. Good point, Mike. Yep. And, we're always still working to raise the senior tax credit back to $500. So we were in the process of doing this before the COVID hit. So as Senator McBride says all the time, a lot of the bills we wanted to run, we kind of got COVIDed this year. So, but there's always next year and next session. So, looking forward to that. Other than that, I think that's all I have right now, unless anybody has any questions for me. Again, the primary on the 15th and the general election on November 3rd.
I would like to say, David, if I may, the senator and I believe have worked very hard together, and I really do appreciate him working with me. We had such a relationship with Senator Peterson and I working together, regardless of the politics. It was always policy, and I think that Senator Walsh and I have tried to keep the same focus. We never get stuck in the quagmire of the craziness of Washington. We just try to do what we do in Delaware. So I wanted to express my gratitude for that. And more important, I do like the fact that there's a lot of signs from us in those communities in the same yards, which I think is always saying a lot about Eastburn Acres more than anything else. I also must say I'm kind of proud during this Zoom meeting, the uniqueness of Zoom. I got a call from my grandson halfway through the meeting. I had to run over there and get the phone. He did his first tinkle on the potty, so everybody knows. He is a very excited little boy. So it was kind of nice being able to participate in that family and do my Zoom at the same time. So thank you. But David, I got to jump off to get to the other one, so I hope we're okay. But Senator, thank you. Great job, and I'll see you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Thanks.
Does anyone have any questions for the senator?
No, I don't have a question. I'm just going to introduce myself a little bit.
Sure.
Nathaniel Porter. I'm new to the area, from a resident of Philadelphia. I actually live right next door to Aaron, the previous treasurer. My background, I'm a Navy veteran, and I've also was stationed at Camp Pendleton with the Marines. And after I got out, I was in the Air National Guard. So I did 3 of the 5 branches of service. I currently
Appreciate your service, sir.
Thank you. I currently employed as far as the Philadelphia County as a Department Service Officer that I've been doing for 12 years. So even with, I don't know if you've driven down Lynch Drive, I was the person responsible for distributing the flags. Or whoever else I walked by, handing out flags, so they could place on their lawn for Flag Day or Veterans Day and everything. We miss some days, but we have them available. I do try to assist widows of disabled veterans and disabled children of veterans that make them aware that they are possible. They can apply or may qualify for certain benefits. I at least now I'm going to try to be more active during the COVID. I see that it's been a big gap as far as the claim processing and the positive results that was being returned from Veterans Administration, because the older generation is not too savvy electronically. They used to, being across from someone, signing paperwork and doing this. So because of the COVID, we have to, stay apart. It's been hurting that side that I've seen as far as representing veterans. And I, doing my best, even if I get the address, I'll put it in the mailbox to have them complete to the Veterans Administration as far as to at least get some traction and or assistance as far as with the are trying to receive or maybe entitled to.
Awesome.
But I've been here just over 4 years. I love it down here, and you know, hopefully hear and see from me whatever I can plug in. I'll try and assist.
Well, if you ever need anything from me, I know Dave probably has my email, and I'll give it to you. It's john.walsh@delaware.gov. So feel free, and I'll even give you my cell phone. Number is 302-660-6295, and that's for anybody that, you know, wants to reach out, text, call me.
Did you just touch something?
And
But I have a great legislative assistant, Ryan Dunphy, who helps me out tremendously with community stuff. So when you email, you know, usually he gets copied on it too. So we work together as a team to get stuff done in the community. And, you know, we do a lot for veterans. We do a lot for seniors.
okay.
That's awesome. Welcome to the community. You've been here 4 years, but I'm saying welcome to the community.
And you know, I still feel new. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited
Yes.
to be here. I give myself so 267-259-1098. My cell is 267-259-1098. As far as if I come across any veterans or someone may have questions, I'll reach out to them. You know, as far as
Yeah.
through your connection, for us to assist them much as possible. I even assist veterans when they are when they do put in appeal for the benefits, and I go in front of a DC judge or appeal judge
Okay.
and represent the veteran. So I do from start to end, you know,
Very
beginning to
good.
end, as far as fighting for their disabilities.
Very good. Thank you.
I had
Ryan, thank you. One second. Thank you again for your service. Go ahead, Kim.
we had talked to Ryan, I don't think you were at the meeting, about the little strip that's between Old Capitol Trail and Kirkwood Highway by the paramedics there. We had asked about getting a double yellow line on there and maybe a white strip as the traffic is coming off of that and pulling onto Old Capitol Trail.
Okay.
It's dangerous there. I mean, cars pull out all the time in front of you, you know, when you're going down Old Capitol.
So
I just
where's
don't
this
think
now
they
coming
know.
out of your neighborhood on Walmsley, or?
Well, if you went out on Walmsley the whole way out and you come down past the library,
Right,
you should make the left to go by the paramedic station
right,
to get up to Kirkwood.
right.
There's no lines on that road.
Oh, okay, the Walston Drive there.
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
know where-
Yeah,
And
right
if,
behind the library.
right behind
Yeah.
the library, if they could put a
Yeah.
white line where that road comes out to Old Capitol Trail so people know to stop.
Yep. No, I got you. I'll follow up on that.
Okay.
I can also tell you too, I put in a couple requests from one of your neighbors that called me. Coming out of Walmsley, there's a telephone pole looking straight ahead, or not, yeah, Walmsley, when you come out of your neighborhood with growth on the pole.
hmm
Contacted DP&L on that to get that cleaned up, and also along the guardrail there, we've reached out to LDOT to get them to clean that up. So let me know if you see, or let me know if you don't see activity within the next several weeks there, but we did put a work request in to clean that up for you,
Okay.
just so you know.
It looks like they're gonna put lines down by the school again. They've got that marked, so it looks like they're gonna put, just repaint the lines down there. So that's
Okay.
what made me think of the lines out here.
I got you on Walston. Yeah, I got you. Okay. You know, when you say lines, you're talking the yellow lines in the middle of the road and the
Yeah, in the
white.
middle of the road.
Right. Okay.
All right, does anyone have any further questions for the senator?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Well,
Thank
I'll let
you
you
very
carry
much.
on your business. Thanks, Dave, Kim,
All right.
Daniel,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Have a great night
You too.
now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
I came in all late and wrong.
That's okay. Perfectly
said there's
fine. And just so you know, we are recording. So
Okay.
if you have like dogs jumping around or cats doing amazing tricks, that'll probably get on camera. So,
I locked the post out.
How about the dog that just killed the rabbit in my backyard? Yeah, nice.
that's not an amazing trick, I don't think. But, All right, so let me go over, I put some agenda items in the newsletter, so let me read through these things. The first thing is the officer situation. I mentioned this at the beginning of the meeting. So Aaron is taking a step back as treasurer, so I'm retaking over the role of treasurer. Kim wants to take a step back from serving as an officer, but then we're in a weird issue where we wouldn't have any officers except me, and we haven't even had an election yet. So Kim is currently technically the acting president, but she really wants to take a step back from that. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Kim. I'll be acting as treasurer, but we do need some volunteers to consider stepping up for at least the role of president or at least a secretary. We do really need at least one other officer. I don't expect anybody to necessarily volunteer right now or volunteer tonight, but if you can think of someone, if you think about like you might want to help serve in the community, it's generally a pretty low maintenance job unless there's a problem. And those rarely come up, but they do happen. I have said that also Karen Rivas has volunteered to help organize the block captains. So I have to reach out to her, and I'm hoping I can maybe finagle her into taking a role. But I think she's also very hesitant because her and her husband are very busy, and they were currently involved or previously involved in the Civic Association. And I think they just don't want to take over that role again. But she has volunteered to help with the block captains. So I just wanted to put that out there to let you kind of know the current officer situation and kind of things that we'll be looking forward over the next couple of meetings to hopefully flesh out, and then we can hopefully have some officer elections at the beginning of the new year. So I just wanted to start with that. Any questions about the officers?
I'm definitely not a leader, but I am a follower, so I can help with anything that they may need help with. My schedule's stupid, so, but again, you know, my number's available if there's anything, you know, newsletters, any of those types of things, I would definitely be in to help.
And I have to sit down with Karen to go over the block captains, and we have to reach out to them again to figure out who is still available to be a block captain.
Okay.
I know 3 or 4 are no longer available. So we might think of you as we'll keep you on our short list as a block captain in the future. And basically
Thank you.
that's just it's delivering newsletters, basically.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I can handle that.
All right, any questions about the officers? All right, another issue is the emergency phone tree service. So for those that aren't aware, several years ago, we had an incident in the community where the state of Delaware detected West Nile virus in mosquitoes at Delaware Park. And then they contacted me and said, hey, we're gonna have trucks rolling through tonight and we're gonna be spraying all this pesticide all over the neighborhood. And it kind of made me realize that there wasn't like an emergency, there wasn't a way to get out a real quick message. Now there is with Nextdoor. Nextdoor's a big help, and I'll be honest, I haven't really used it that much. But working with Kevin, we thought about putting together like a phone tree, and he set something up so that it would auto dial people, and we used it once or twice to blast out a message to the community. Now that he's no longer active in the community, I don't have access to that. He did it all by himself. And so I'll probably have to look at maybe even resetting that up. So at this time, we don't have an active phone tree service, but I'll have to look into seeing kind of what's available and maybe setting up again. I have all the emails and the people that in my dues list of people who accepted, said, yes, we want to be on this service. So it's very easy to me just to go through my spreadsheet and put the people, whatever, in a new list. It's not a problem, but just at this moment, we don't have anything. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Does anybody have any questions about that?
No, that'd be helpful because I think I was one of the ones that got real cautious when that truck was fogging behind the house and didn't know what was going on. So Yeah, that'll be helpful.
Right. And now we do, okay, so our community, this is, okay, let me explain this way. Nextdoor is a great resource. It's an app on your phone that allows you to see what's going on in your neighborhood. One issue is that when they set up for our neighborhood, the first person who created an account set up the area, and they lived in English Creek. So when you look for us in Nextdoor, you want to look for English Creek. We can't put Eastburn Acres in because we're already considered like the geographical lines or whatever. The way they do their minimum community size is already set up to be included in the English Creek one. So if you do sign up for Nextdoor, make sure to search for English Creek and not necessarily Eastburn Acres. I know that is a small issue, but then, you know, if we see anything, if there's any news in the neighborhood too, you'll see it on there probably as well.
Any idea if we could get that mosquito machine again?
That's a good question. I think
I don't know about you, but between my yard and my sister's yard, it's been nasty this year.
I actually called Viking. Well, I had Viking Press Service come out today. Actually, they come out every quarter because I used to have a real bad problem with ants. And I just chatted with the guy. He was like, "Yeah, I talked to another person up the street that was doing service, and they were asking about the mosquito control." He said, "With all the rain we've had, especially in the last month, they really started to get out of control." And I've never had mosquitoes in my backyard, but this year, as soon as I go out there to mow the lawn, they start swarming.
Right.
So it is an issue. I don't think the state will just go through our neighborhood again though, unless there's like a reason. So.
Gotcha.
All right. Next is snow plowing. So I called and talked to what's her name? Is it Melanie? Melody? Starts with an M. I talked with the person at Del Dart in charge of community snow plowing, and I asked her to send me all the information. Every year you have to sign up, and since I'm taking over the treasurer again, she'll have to send it to me. So I talked with them, got that all squared away. I have to talk with my neighbor Dave Cernos. He took over the snow plowing contract, I think last year or the year before. I think it was 2 years ago. And he's been doing our snow plowing. Now, we used to be with Midstarfer. Midstarfer is backing out of the snow plowing business, or at least they're like only focusing on commercial. So they were like, hey, we don't necessarily want to do snow plowing anymore. And because they basically contracted with Dave did the plowing anyway, except he did it for Midstarfer. So because he's right in the neighborhood, he's right there. We continued because it's still the same price. The initial well, I haven't seen the contract for this year, but the last 2 years the deposit was only like $350. We've talked with him about putting additional sand at some of the intersections if needed, because we've had a real bad problem at the intersection of, I think it's Walmsley and Carroll, or no, Walmsley and Marta. Walmsley and Marta is real bad. I was going to talk with him and continue doing the snow plowing through him because the prices are very reasonable. And I just haven't had a chance to chat with him yet, but I will do that. So that's the general status of the snow plowing. So by this time, next meeting, everything should be sorted with our snow plowing contract. And then the final thing is the treasure report. So because I'm taking over as treasurer again, I need to get set up with Citizens Bank to have access to the account. I talked to Kim by text this morning. We have an appointment scheduled at Citizens Bank at 3 p.m. on Friday. I don't have a report yet. I will have actually the annual report because our year ends September 30th. So at the next meeting, I'll have our annual report for this year and the previous year. Also have how much money we've taken in, all that kind of information. I don't have that right now. I do have the dues that we have received in the last year. So far this year, I have listed that I've deposited $2,017.50. That is a little bit lighter than 2018. I think 2018 was like 2,750. 2017 was 2,750. 2018 was, let me check this here. Give me some, make sure I got the whole thing. $2,442.50 last year. So we're light about another 500 to 750 compared to the last few years. But part of that is also because I think we only put out like one notice this year. Normally we do like 2 or 3, and then people catch it on the 2nd or the 3rd. I will say I've also got like $100 in checks. In fact, I got a check from the Walshes dated on September 1st. So I still get checks that come in over the summer. I've got like 3 or 4 checks sitting here that I need to deposit still, so that'll be another 80 to 100 bucks. So that's really all I have to comment on the treasurer's report. I wish I had more information for you, but I will have that next time. And that's the topics I had on the agenda. Kim, do you have anything that you want to bring up as a topic?
Just I mean, I wish Ken had been on so that we could have addressed the drug dealing and the county police and their lack of response. That's the only thing I have. I know Wyatt has a problem with his neighbor down the street and the lack of the response from the county police. I called them about a vehicle that was sitting over on Lynch. They came. They didn't, I don't know whether they ran the tag or not. I had someone I know in Pennsylvania run the tag, and it's a tag out of Philly that's dead. And the county cop did nothing but put a sticker on it and drove away. So,
I think he took the tag off before the county cop got there
okay.
because he listed it as an abandoned vehicle. So it wouldn't have had a tag at that point.
Okay.
So I think the neighbor has a ways of finding out when the police come by, because every time the police are called on him, he takes the step before they can arrive. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's getting worse and worse. He's driving around without tags on the car today and yesterday. It's only a matter of time before he runs into somebody and hurts them, and probably doesn't have insurance on the car, probably doesn't have a license, and the car's probably not registered right now.
Well, it's just so blatant. It's so blatant.
Yeah.
And, you know,
There's like somebody on every corner now, though.
but I noticed almost on every corner now when you ride around, there's a car sitting there, you know, and it's like a different car a lot. So it's not just you, Drew, you know, it's, and like, what do? Do you call for that? By the time you call, they're gone.
Right, and I don't have a crime report. I did email Councilman Woods, and I got a response from Christine, his legislative aide, that we were going to be on his calendar, but that depending on the schedule, he might be able to make it, he might not. But let me follow up with an email and see if I can get the crime report and have it for the next meeting. And 1 second, let me see if I have anything in my emails right now with the crime report. 1 second. I'll check crime and see what comes up.
Probably shut the doors. They're probably sitting on the back porch smoking dope.
Yeah, I don't see anything in my emails for the last year that has crime, like as a crime report. So I'll email Christine and see if I can get a copy of the crime report.
Yeah. It's funny because, you know, Wyatt, for the first time in a long time, I don't feel uber comfortable, you know, especially at night, you know, walking the dog or something like that. It sucks because I can't really pinpoint what's going on. You know, you can look, and then like I even texted Drew yesterday and said, look out your window, see what's out there, because there was a car parked there. It was gone by the time he got there. So they're quick.
It's every day, Beth. I have them on camera dealing. One car pulls up, the other car pulls up, they make the deal, and they drive off. It is every single morning between 7 and 8, like clockwork. I can tell you what the cars are.
Mm-hmm. Yep, same. Well, I can't see them, but
I'm just
yeah.
waiting
I
for
know
it.
that.
It feels like just a ticking time bomb next door here. Just waiting for him to do something wrong.
Yeah. Right.
So,
And not to
and then
mention,
it's just like,
on top of that, um, this is the time of year when the car thieves start coming around again too. That's another thing that I'm concerned about. Usually we're starting around when we get closer to the holiday season, they start going through neighborhoods, starting to check cars to see if they're locked or not, and then taking whatever they see. We haven't had a rush of that in this neighborhood in a while that I can remember, but it wouldn't surprise me if they hit again this fall or this winter. So maybe that's something else I can put in the next newsletter as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially because, one of them is waiting for court for that very same thing. So.
Yeah, so maybe I'll put it on the front page to remind people in the neighborhood to report suspicious activity.
Yeah.
If you see suspicious activity, call. If you see suspicious activity, call the non-emergency line. If you see a crime in progress, call 911. That's usually how we word it.
is there about parking on the sidewalk or the grass out front of the house? Is there something we can say about that? Because it just, I don't know, it's just not I guess being picky, but it's kind of annoyance and looks a little trashy every once in a while when he's pulled up on the sidewalk and we have to walk around the car to walk down the street or ride the bike.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we'd have to ask Christina, Councilman Woods, what are the county rules on that? You can't park on the grass. It's that simple. So if they're parking on the grass, that's a county violation. That's a fine, but then you got to have somebody from the county come around and enforce that, and they work normal hours like everybody else. So
Getting the
And
county.
the problem is when they're going to come out and inspect, it's during the day and it's not there. It's
right.
in the evening.
Not to mention, then they go around the entire block and they hit everybody because that's their job. If they come out the neighborhood, they're going to go around and hit anything they see. So then other people might get hit for something relatively minor when it's more of the nuisance things that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess my thing too is I see a lot going on as far as like people not keeping up with their homes and things like that. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's been a lot of properties that have been bought here recently that I see kind of going downhill. And you don't want to call just because their grass isn't cut, but it's like consistently not cut or it's consistently looking bad. So it's like, I don't know I don't want to be the one calling on people all the time, but you see new houses and it's like, I guess just not keeping up with code or, I don't know. I'm sure you guys have noticed some things.
Right. First off, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I actually kind of owe an apology to the community. Kim actually asked me earlier in the year or the summer to, in one of our newsletters, put out the county codes to remind people. We've done that in the past.
Yeah.
I never got that out. I apologize for that. And it's kind of late in the winter. Like usually, ideally, you want to get it out in the spring when people start mowing their lawns, cleaning up their yards and things like that. Kim, I'm sorry to interrupt. You were going to say something, but I wanted to.
You can report it online without, they don't know who you are
No,
because.
you do have to put your name.
You do have to put your name, but you can report it online. I did have calls about the house that's across the intersection from me. That house doesn't exist on the county site, so I actually had to email Christine and ask Christine to forward it to county code, and she did, and the grass was cut the next day. So it did happen quickly once I emailed her, and I haven't seen it long again. So maybe they just didn't know.
Right. And that's just it. Like, you hate to be the person that's like, but I just see some houses that are really looking hard lately. And it's just a shame. It's just, I could be bitching the bitch. I don't think so. I just think sometimes you think, is there anything we could do about that?
Right.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing issue in this community. We've had complaints over the years about landscaping vehicles, people not keeping their yards clean, houses with gutters falling off. And I'll, like, even my own house, like, my deck's kind of falling apart in the backyard. I need to get a new deck. Like, but luckily that's in the back. Nobody really sees that, you know? So,
Yeah, and there's some
yeah.
people that don't have the money or the power to be able to do things. I get that. It's just consistent, you know,
Right.
things.
And,
Yeah.
and it's a fine line we as a civic association have to go, because we're not the yard police. That's not our role. If we get a lot of complaints, then we'll forward those along to either a county councilman or the county, or we'll direct it to the right person that complaint coming in from can get assistance in.
Right.
But generally speaking, unless it's something major, like when the individual in Carroll put a pole barn in his backyard, you know, unless it's something huge like that, that's like almost a violation of kind of like the deed restrictions, you know, that's a question, you know. Some people would say it's not, some people say it is, but the point was, it was a big enough of an issue that the Civic Association got involved. But it's a lot more difficult when it's more individual. This person's parking a truck here. If a person's parking a truck on their lawn, we've had an issue with that on Madeline. All we can do is tell the county councilman, report it to the county. At the end of the day, they have to take action. And I noticed the guy on Madeline, when I was delivering the newsletters, now he's covered that entire area with like stone. So that's a question, like, now he's got basically a double wide parking lot with stone all the way into his backyard. But then again, it looked like he was in the middle of removing a tree. So maybe he's doing landscaping work. You know, it gets to a slippery slope, you know. Wait, can he do that? Can he not do that? What's the county rules?
Karen.
No.
Sorry.
No problem. So I hear you. I think what we'll need to do is we definitely in the spring need to put in the code rules again. We'll entreat all Councilman Woods to definitely be here because we have a number of issues we need to bring up that he has to hear. Now we have a cameo. Hello.
Hi.
I have a feeling that child said Bubba Beth.
Now, I will say, Andrew, just so you know, we are recording, in case you don't want your kid on the.
Hey, baby.
No, I
That's
just
awesome.
wanted to I mean, I knew it's been brought to Kim knows because I text her daily about what goes on, but I was hoping the cop was here because I'm waiting because I have a feeling there's drug activity. I reached out to the DEA and state now since the county hasn't done anything. I'm just worried about someone coming looking for him and finding the wrong house. Or the kids being out front or us out front or
Some type of, yeah, or some type of dispute that they have, and then you don't know what's going to happen out of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean,
All
do you
right,
think it's something that we all need to start calling on? I mean, the more calls, the better kind of thing. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Okay.
The more calls the police get, the more that they will respond. The more likely they are to respond. Right.
All right.
So if you see suspicious activity, call the non-emergency line. If you see a crime, call 911.
All righty.
May I have the other number? Not the
Oh,
number.
sure. Okay, so the non-emergency line is 302-573-2800.
Okay.
And that's to report mischief. You see somebody weird walking through the neighborhood, things like that. If you see a crime, call 911.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other topics to bring up tonight?
Nope, I think I'm good.
I'm good.
All right.
Good. Thank you.
All right. First, I want to thank you again for all attending tonight, our first Zoom meeting. Thank you also, Nathan. This is your first time, and welcome. You know, you've been here 4 years, but welcome to your first Civic Association meeting. We're glad to have you, and we hope to see you in the future. If you guys need me, call my cell phone, 302-981-4580. I'll wait till Nathan writes it down. It's 302-981-4580. Feel free to text me or email me at djtancredi@comcast.net.
Do they do minutes?
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you
Drew
very much,
just warned me about my my wine drinking. He said,
Oh,
put the
yeah.
wine down. Now you all know. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And Kim, if Dawn is still there, say bye to her as well.
Dad said bye.
All right.
All right,
Thank you very
guys.
much, everyone. Have a great night.
Night.
Good
Yeah.
night. Good night, Nathan.